What is up guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a Relinquished deck profile. This one is actually an update to the first one I actually did. So what this means is it's essentially the same deck. I've just made some adjustments to actually suit this particular format, simply because either I found slightly different alternatives that I found was a bit better in this particular situation or this particular month, that I felt that the format kind of had to adapt, or this whole deck itself had to adapt to a certain standard, but of course uphold its current gameplay. But with that being said, definitely drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and also subscribe for more videos just like this. Comment down and share this video as well, it really helps. However, without further ado, let's get started. So for monsters, we're going to obviously begin with Relinquished himself. There's nothing else to really explain. He is the main card of this deck after all, so it makes sense to play 3 of them. Following that, we're playing 3 copies here of Millennium Eyes Illusionist. Absolutely amazing card. I've already explained it in the first deck profile, so since this version's an update, I'm not going to explain it again. But with that being said, this card is pretty much a staple at 3 copies. 1 copy of Illusionist Faceless Mage. It's pretty obvious that this card isn't particularly the most amazing, because it could just recur itself back to your hand anyway, and even if your opponent banishes it off, it doesn't really matter. I mean, yes, you could technically play a second copy if you really wanted to, but it's not a mandatory thing. Of course, with it being the Relinquished deck, it does work well to actually play the Predator Plant engine, so I'm actually playing the Cobra and I'm also playing the Scorpio as well. Absolutely amazing, and it just gets the deck running. Without a doubt, I am going to be playing 1 copy of every single kaiju again, because of the fact that the kaijus just work really well with the Relinquished deck itself. They just have an amazing synergy, and it was like it was built for that particular deck itself. Or the funny thing is this, Relinquished wasn't never really a deck to begin with when it first came out. It was more so just a small engine in itself to kind of allow you to play a Pegasus-like deck. But when kaijus actually came out, it made you actually think, could you actually play that with Relinquish? But the fact that Relinquish ended up getting support, it kind of just melded together with the kaijus, and it just worked well ever since. And I feel like it's going to be pretty difficult for me to actually just separate them unless I'm playing a really different build for kaijus, or in general in this case, the Relinquish. So it's very interesting of course, but 6 of these kaijus definitely work well. If you guys want to have a bigger variety, well actually this is the variety build. If you guys actually wanted to be a bit more consistent on that matter, you could just drop some of them and change up the ratios of this as well, and it could actually work out. Now to end things off with the monsters, we're going to be playing 2 copies here of Nibiru. Just a really nice card to finish things off. It's a great disruptor and it just does the job, you know, and also once you give your opponent the monster, you could easily just steal it back anyway, so definitely great for the deck. Now you guys might have noticed that I took out Relinquished. That card was definitely nice, but it wasn't necessarily an important card for the deck, so I wanted to play it for the first deck profile simply because I felt that it was something that was courteous to do. But in this particular variant, I wanted to get a bit more on the serious side, so I decided to remove them. Maybe I might put them back in a future deck profile, but for now I felt that it wasn't necessary for me to actually include it. So on with the spells, we're going to be playing 3 copies here of Black Illusion Ritual. It's pretty self-explanatory. You got to play 3 of it to maximize consistency anyway. And we're also playing 3 copies here of Relinquished Fusion. Absolutely amazing card. It's just going to set you up for plenty of plays, and since you're also playing Anaconda in this deck, you're also going to be playing the Predator Plant engine in general. The Relinquished Fusion will definitely do really well. And of course, since we're playing a lot of kaijus in this deck, I'm also playing 3 copies here of Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. So absolutely amazing card, definitely helps out quite well for the deck itself. Following that, we're playing here the new addition to the deck itself, and that is Ritual Foregone. So this card, I actually go over it. So you essentially pay 1000 life points and special summon a ritual monster from your hand, but it cannot attack and also destroy during the end phase, and you can only activate 1 of these per turn. What does this card actually remind you of? Well, it actually reminds you of Instant Fusion, because it's essentially Instant Fusion, however it's for rituals. So I actually wondered why they didn't actually call this Instant Ritual, but this card did technically come out before Instant Fusion. So with that being said, it does make it quite interesting that Instant Fusion is not called Fusion foregone. I mean, it would be quite nice that they did it that way. However, you could clearly see that this one's a bit more of a limited thing because you actually need the ritual in your hand, as opposed to the instant fusion, which allows you to just summon out any kind of monster from your extra deck, which is definitely a lot better in that case. However, I wanted to try this out because you could activate Ritual Foregone, bring out your Relinquish from your hand, and then you could take one of your opponent's monsters and then use that Relinquish to either link summon into Anima, or you could just use that Relinquished as a tribute fodder to go into your second Relinquish from an actual ritual summon, so that you could actually just take another monster. So it's considered to be another card to just help you take more monsters from your opponent, which is definitely a great extender. For a bit of searching, of course, we're going to be playing 3 copies here of Preparation of Rites, well, pre-prep, and we're also playing 2 copies of Preparation of Rites. Both cards absolutely amazing, works well for the deck, and I like the ratios that I am going with here. You guys could adjust the ratios however you like, it could work either way, but I do like to have 5 of these here. It definitely works amazingly. And for a bit of some staples, we're going to be playing obviously Monster Reborn, Called by the Grave, we're playing the Instant Fusion, of course, a very important card, and we're also playing here 2 copies of technically Upstart Goblin, right, because it's basically deck thinners for the deck. But we're also going to end things off here with 2 copies of Super Poly, because we are playing Anaconda, we are playing the Predaplant engine, so I want to have a good variety of polymerization cards or fusion related cards to actually maximize the output of this deck. On with the extra deck, we're going to obviously play 1 copy here of the Relinquished Anima. You really only need 1, so it's definitely really great that I don't have to go out looking for more of it, because you really will just pull off only 1 copy of it in that entire game. But of course, we're also going for Link Karibo, bit of a variety play here, and we're also playing here for Link 2s now, the Nightmare Engine package. You could play your Unicorn if you actually want, I just prefer to play these 2. I'm also playing here an Akashic Magician just to bounce back monsters, or you could bounce back your own kaijus, absolutely amazing for the deck itself. Then of course we're playing the Anaconda, absolutely crucial card. This card's been going up in price, so definitely pretty crazy. And we're also playing for a bit of variety, Deco Talker Extended. You could play whatever Link 3s you want, and for Link 4, again, you guys can play whatever you want. I'm going for variety here. Now as for the fusions, we're playing obviously the Millennium Eyes Restrict. Believe me, I want to play 3 copies if I actually own 3 copies, but right now I only have 2, so that's what I'm going to work with. We're also playing 1 copy of Thousand Eyes Restrict. This card is interesting because I realize I don't use this card that often. I mean, I really don't use this card that often, you know. I mean, it's really just an instant fusion target at best, because we're always going to be going for this instead. So it makes it quite interesting, because either way, I already have my Relinquished anyway, which is already going to take monsters, so this card doesn't come up as often. I decided to cut it down so that I could actually make space for other cards in my deck. And of course, for Super Poly targets, I definitely had to play a good variety of cards here, because it actually came out in several games where, yes, you could technically just side some of them out and play different cards instead, but by having all of these, I was ready to actually take on whatever my opponents were playing. And these particular cards did actually come out in every single game. They applied in every single game I was playing. However, with that being said, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this particular video. Definitely drop a like, comment, and subscribe for more videos just like this. Also, don't forget to share this video as well, it definitely helps out a lot. But with that being said, this is my Relinquished deck profile that has been updated from the previous one. This means that since it's relatively the same as the previous one, I'm not going to be doing test hands for this. I will be building a different variant and then putting up a deck profile for that. So when I do that, I will include a test hand video, sorry. But in this particular scenario, there is no test hand video because it's just the same as the previous. So with that being said, if you want to see a test hand video, definitely just check out the annotations that I left on this particular video itself, and you guys could actually just watch that instead, because it's essentially the same version as this, only this one is the upgraded version for this format. But of course, with that being said, I hope you all have a great day. I'll see you next time.